In the golden streets of Medina, a secret unfolded. While the Ummah slept, a shadow moved, carrying a burden heavier than gold. This is not a tale of battles fought with swords, but of a war waged in silence, a testament to a love so profound, it was hidden from the very eyes it sought to comfort. If this story moved your heart, let it move your actions. Share this legacy of secret sincerity. Support those in need anonymously. Let Uthman's raw hidden charity inspire your own. Subscribe for more journeys into the luminous lives that shaped our faith. Become a bearer of quiet blessings. The sun over Medina was a merciless sovereign. For months, its reign had been absolute, baking the earth into cracked tiles and turning the air into a shimmering furnace. A drought, severe and silent, had gripped the city of the Prophet, peace be upon. The wells of Medina, once vibrant with chatter and laughter, now echoed with the hollow sounds of empty buckets. The Ummah was parched. In the Masjid al-Nabawi, under the modest shade of its palm frond roof, the companions gathered. Worry etched deep lines on the faces of men who had faced armies. Abu Bakr, as Siddiq Ra, his brow furrowed, spoke of dwindling reserves. Umar al-Faruq Ra, his voice uncharacteristically subdued, reported on families rationing their last sips of water. The beloved Prophet, peace be upon, listened, his luminous face reflecting the concern of his people. Then he spoke, a beacon in the despair. Who will undertake the endowment of the well of Ruma? He asked. Who will purchase it with his wealth and dedicate its water freely to all Muslims, his reward being a drink in paradise, the well of Ruma? It was the only source within Medina that still held water, but it was owned by a man who sold it at a price that choked the poor. Its water was a commodity, not a mercy. A profound silence followed the Prophet's peace be upon question. The companions were men of immense sacrifice, but the well's price was legendary. It was not just wealth, it was a fortune. Glances were exchanged, hearts wrestled with desire and reality, and then a man rose. He did not stand with a warrior's boast or a poet's flourish. He rose with a calm dignity, the fabric of his simple robe rustling softly. It was Uthman ibn Affan Ra, the possessor of two lights, Dhun-Nurayn, having married two daughters of the Prophet, peace be upon. I will undertake it, O Messenger of Allah, Uthman Ra said, his voice clear and firm. In the marketplace, Uthman Ra found the owner of the well. The man, seeing the opportunity, inflated the price further, sensing the dire need. But Uthman Ra did not haggle. He agreed. Then he offered more. Sell me half of it. Uthman Ra proposed. 1 day for you to sell your water, and 1 day for me to give mine freely. The deal was struck. On Uthman's day, the people of Medina rushed to the well, their jars and skins overflowing with the sweet, free water. They drank until their thirst was a memory, and they blessed the name of Uthman Ra. So abundantly did they take, and so abundantly did the well provide, that they stored enough for the next day. And when the owner's day came, no one came to buy. His water stood stagnant, worthless. Humbled and frustrated, he returned to Uthman Ra. You have ruined my business, he complained. Buy the other half. Uthman Ra smiled gently. He named a price for the remaining half that was even greater than the first. The man, trapped by his own greed, agreed. And so, the well of Ruma became Sadaqat Uthman, the perpetual charity of Uthman. The water flowed freely, a liquid mercy, quenching the physical thirst of Medina and the spiritual thirst of a man whose generosity knew no bounds. That night, as Uthman Ra stood in prayer, tears traced paths on his cheeks. He had not sought praise. The joyful cries of the people were praise enough from Allah. He made a secret vow that day. Let my right hand give what my left hand does not know. True charity is not measured by the amount given, but by the need it fulfills and the sincerity with which it is given. Uthman Ra taught us that the greatest acts are often those that solve a collective crisis with selfless immediacy. His business acumen was not for profit, but for perpetual benefit to the Ummah. When wealth is a trust, the wealthy are but custodians for those in need. Years passed, the well of Rumah continued to sing its endless song of generosity. Medina had flourished under the leadership of the Prophet, peace be upon, and after his passing, under the Caliphs. Now, Uthman Ra himself was the Khulafa, the leader of the vast Islamic realm. Yet, the weight of the crown did not harden his heart. It made it more tender, more attuned to hidden suffering. Another year of hardship descended upon Medina. This time, it was not water, but grain. The markets were barren. Prices soared until a single wask of grain cost a fortune. Hunger prowled the alleys, its grip tightening around the large, struggling community of the Ansar and the poorer Muhajirin. One evening, Abu Bakr Ra and Umar Ra went to the Prophet's peace be upon Mosque, discussing the crisis in low, grave tones. As they walked, they saw a figure slip out from the side of Uthman's Ra house, heading towards the outskirts of the city. Intrigued and with the protective concern of brothers, they decided to follow at a distance. The figure was indeed Uthman Ra, but not as they knew him. He was dressed in a simple, worn-out cloak, indistinguishable from any common traveler. He led a single, burdened camel towards a secluded warehouse near the caravan routes. Inside, under the faint light of an oil lamp, they watched from a hidden vantage point. They saw Uthman Ra kneel beside sacks, not of gold or silk, but of wheat, dates, and olive oil. With his own hands, he began transferring the goods into larger, travel-worn sacks on the camel. He worked silently, the only sound the rustle of grain and his steady breath. He loaded the camel with meticulous care, ensuring the balance was perfect for a long journey. Where is the commander of the faithful going alone at this hour? Whispered Abu Bakr Ra, his heart swelling with a knowing emotion. Umar Ra, the stern, his eyes moist, could only shake his head. By Allah, he is upon a mission that his left hand does not know. They followed again as Uthman Ra, leading his laden camel, navigated the sleeping streets. He stopped not at the grand houses, but in the narrow lanes of the Banu Harithi district, where the most destitute of the Ansar lived. At a particularly humble dwelling, its door barely hanging on its hinges, he stopped. He unloaded sack by sack, placing them quietly by the door. A sack of wheat, a sack of dates, a container of oil, enough to sustain a large family for weeks. He did not knock. He did not announce himself. As he turned to leave, he paused, and from his pocket, he took a small pouch of silver coins and placed it gently on top of the sack of dates. In that moment, the door creaked open. An old Ansari man, thin from hunger, peered out. In the faint moonlight, he saw the mountain of provisions and the retreating back of a man. "Who is there?" the old man called out, his voice weak. "Who has blessed us? May Allah reward you. Tell me your name." Uthman Ra did not turn. He simply raised a hand in a gesture of peace and whispered, barely audible, from a brother to a brother, "Let it be from Allah." And he melted back into the darkness, leaving the old man weeping with gratitude before a bounty he could not comprehend. Abu Bakr Ra turned to Umar Ra, tears streaming freely into his white beard. "O Umar, how many such caravans in the night has he sent? How many doors have been blessed by this secret key?" Leadership is not about prestige. It is about responsibility in its purest form. Uthman Ra, the Khulafa of millions, became a porter in the night to save one family from hunger. He teaches us that the highest rank is to be a servant. His secrecy was not shame, but the ultimate purification of intention, seeking only the pleasure of the all-seeing, not the praise of the seen. The secret night journeys continued. A mysterious benefactor became a legend in the poor quarters of Medina. Stories were told of waking to find provisions, of debts paid anonymously, of orphans clothed in fine garments with no note attached. The people spoke of an angel, or perhaps the rust spirit of the Prophet, peace be upon himself, moving amongst them. Uthman Ra listened to these tales in the court, his face a mask of humble disinterest, his heart a garden of quiet joy. The scale of the crisis, however, grew. News arrived of a massive trade caravan approaching Medina. It was Uthman's Ra-owned caravan, 1,000 camels laden with the finest goods from Syria: wheat, cloth, raisins, and precious merchandise. Its value was beyond calculation, a king's ransom moving across the desert. The merchants of Medina buzzed like a disturbed hive. They rushed to Uthman's Ra home, their eyes glittering with opportunity. "O commander of the faithful," one said, "sell us the entire caravan. We offer you double its value in profit." Another chimed in, "Nay, sell it to me. I will give you 5 times the capital." Uthman Ra listened patiently, a serene smile on his lips. When the clamor subsided, he asked softly, "And what is your best offer?" The bidding war erupted. 10 times the value, 12 times. The numbers soared into the realm of fantasy. Finally, the wealthiest merchant, breathless, proclaimed, "I offer you a profit of 20 times on every single dirham you invested." A stunned silence fell. It was an offer of unimaginable wealth. The merchants waited, certain of his acceptance. How could any man refuse? Uthman Ra looked at their eager faces. Then he raised his hands in a graceful gesture of refusal. "I have received a better offer." Confusion rippled through the crowd. "Who?" they cried in unison. "Who could possibly offer more than this?" Uthman Ra stood, his presence filling the room with a different kind of power, not of wealth, but of unshakable faith. His eyes seemed to look beyond them to a realm they could not see. "Allah, the Most High, the All-Generous," Uthman Ra declared, his voice resonant with conviction. "He has offered me 10 times the reward for every single grain, 10 times for every dirham. Can your mathematics compete with the mathematics of the Almighty? Can your gold rival the promise of paradise?" The room was utterly still. The merchants were struck dumb, their worldly calculations shattered by the sheer magnitude of divine arithmetic. "Go and bring the heads of the poor families," Uthman Ra instructed his servants. "Bring every needy person in Medina." When the poor were gathered, a river of anxious, hopeful faces, Uthman Ra stood before them. He pointed to the horizon where the dust cloud of his caravan could now be seen. "This caravan," he announced, "all of it, every sack, every bolt of cloth, every date, is for you. It is a gift from your brother in Islam. Take it and distribute it amongst yourselves according to your need." A cry, not of cheer, but of raw, overwhelming disbelief and gratitude erupted from the crowd. Men and women fell to their knees, weeping. The greatest single act of charity in the history of Medina was being given, not to kings or allies, but to the barefoot, the hungry, the forgotten. From the edge of the crowd, Abu Bakr Ra and Umar Ra watched. Umar Ra, overcome, turned to Abu Bakr. Now his secret is unveiled. Now all know the identity of the night traveler. Abu Bakr Ra nodded, his heart full. "No, Umar, they see the caravan, but they still do not know the half of it. They see the mountain, but do not know of the countless pebbles he has carried in the dark for years. His true secret is still between him and his Lord." Uthman Ra redefined value. In a moment, He showed the world that the true currency of a believer is the pleasure of Allah. When faced with a mountain of worldly wealth, he saw a staircase to paradise. This act was not impulsive. It was the glorious, public culmination of a lifetime of hidden sincerity. It teaches us that when you plant seeds of charity in secret, Allah may choose to make your harvest public. As a lesson for all of humanity, the distribution of the caravan was a spectacle of divine economy. For days the needy of Medina came, and the caravan, like the blessed handfuls of the Prophet, peace be upon, seemed never to diminish. No one was turned away. The name of Uthman Ra was on every tongue, but he retreated further into his privacy, embarrassed by the public praise. Time, the great revealer, moved on. The noble companions began to depart this world, one by one, returning to their beloved peace be upon the era of Uthman's. Khulafa faced severe trials, fitness stirred by selfish desires, and political intrigue. Yet, through the storm, Uthman Ra remained steadfast, his character unblemished, his patience like a deep, unshakable mountain. In his final days, as misguided rebels besieged his home, denying him even water, the true weight of his lifelong charity returned to him in a moment of profound emotional justice. An old man, his back bent with age, pushed through the hostile crowd surrounding Uthman's Ra house. In his hand he carried a small water skin. The rebels tried to stop him. "Where do you think you are going, old man?" The old man, with a strength that belied his years, looked at them with fire in his eyes. "Do you know who I am? I am the one whose children were saved from starvation by a sack of dates left at my door in the dark of night. I am the one whose debt was erased by unknown silver coins. For years I prayed to Allah to show me the face of my benefactor so I could kiss his feet. Today, I learned it was our Imam, Uthman Ra, whom you surround. You may prevent him from reaching the well of Ruma, but you will not prevent my water from reaching him." Such was the power of his conviction that the rebels parted, shamed. The old man entered and offered the water to the thirsty Caliph. Uthman Ra drank, and his tears mixed with the water. Tears for the old man's loyalty and tears for the Ummah's suffering. But the most poignant testament came from the heart of the Ummah itself. Years after the tragic martyrdom of Uthman Ra, during the caliphate of the great Muawiyah Ra, a severe drought struck again. The people were desperate. An old woman, a contemporary of the Prophet's letter, FDFA era, called out to the sky, "O Allah, give us rain for the sake of the hidden hand, the hand that fed us in secret, that clothed our orphans, that quenched our thirst when we were most in need." Muawiyah Ra, hearing this, asked his companions, "Who is this hidden hand?" They told him the stories. The well of Ruma, the nighttime caravans, the mountain of a caravan given away, the countless, nameless acts of Sadaqah that only Allah had recorded. Muawiyah Ra wept. He stood before the people and said, "This old woman has called upon Allah by a name he loves, by the one in whose hand is my soul. Uthman's secret charity is a proof before Allah today." And the clouds gathered, and the rain fell, a gentle, blessed rain washing over Medina. It was as if the heavens themselves were weeping for the man whose generosity had been so vast, yet so discreet that its full scope was known only to the All-Knowing. The legacy of Uthman ibn Affan Ra was sealed not just in history books, but in the soaked earth of Medina and the relieved hearts of its people. He proved that the most powerful force on earth is not an army, but a single, sincere act of kindness done for the face of Allah. His life was a living verse. Those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah and then do not follow up what they have spent with reminders of it or other injury will have their reward with their Lord, and there will be no fear concerning them, nor will they grieve. Quran 2:262. Uthman Ra was the warrior who fought with wealth, the commander of mercy, the scholar of silent action. His companions were the poor who never saw his face, the thirsty who never knew his name. His battlefield was the dark street, his weapon a sack of grain, his victory a prayer from a heart he had healed in secret. In an age of spectacular heroism, his was the heroism of the hidden. He taught us that the greatest gifts are those wrapped in anonymity, delivered in darkness, and recorded only in the light of the divine. For in the end, it is not what the world says about your charity that matters. It is what your charity, in its purest, most secret form, says about your heart to the Lord of the worlds. And Uthman's heart spoke the eternal language of love.